Hello. Hi. Good evening, everybody. We are here. Just warming it up a little. Just give me few seconds here. Yeah. All right. How blessed it is to be in your house. Yeah. It's my house. It's your house tonight. Good evening, everybody. Man, I'm hoping that you guys are with us tonight. Of course, we're welcoming everybody slowly but surely. We're hoping that some of you can join us. Let me know if you can hear me very clearly. I think that's very important, first of all, have that you can hear me and you can hear my guest eventually. Um, I know he's on, just hoping that he can hear me. And I'm hoping
I
that I
can.
can hear him as well. Let me know if. Oh, awesome. Lovely. That is good. That is good. Let me welcome everybody. Those of you who are viewing us on Facebook, say a special welcome to all of you. You might be on C's Paul, the page, or you might be on Caesarina M. Paul, my formal page on Facebook, or you might just be on Authentic Exchange on YouTube. You have three ways of hearing us. Excellent. Thank you, Shelly Anderson. I appreciate you being the first person to comment tonight to tell us that you are hearing us loudly and clearly. So thank you. Let me just invite my guest to show his face. I see he's showing us something else, a photo, but I know he's here and I saw him earlier. Yeah, how are we doing tonight?
I'm well. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. Thank you to all the authentic listeners. Thank you to everybody from your group,
Yeah,
from my group. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
yeah, I love that. So, I call you officer. You seem a little far. Is it? I don't know if it's me. Can you get closer to your camera so folks can see your face a little?
Most
I'm seeing you
definitely.
close up when you go, but yeah, if you get closer, that might help. Yes. A true police officer. Look at his dress. You know what? From the time I met you, I've noted that about you that you when it comes to your attire, you take that very seriously, and that's fine. There's no harm in it, and I do appreciate that you present yourself as best as you can. They say life is short, and you have to always represent yourself well, right? So
Yes.
yeah, so let me
Yes.
welcome you. Let me welcome you to this platform tonight. And let me first of all, right off the bat, thank you for accepting the invitation to dialogue with us tonight on a very important topic. As a matter of fact, yeah, I dubbed it gun violence and gang culture, and most importantly, exploring solutions. So, but before we go into the meat of this, I'd like you to maybe just tell folks a little bit about you, or would you prefer if I just read a bit of you prefer that I read a little bit of your bio, and then
Thank
you
you
want
very
to
much.
tell us?
Thank you very
That'd be
much. You could
good.
go ahead. You could go ahead. You could go ahead.
Yeah, I made it easier for you, didn't I? When I say that, I mean,
Thanks a
yeah.
lot.
Okay, so it's pretty short, but it's loaded. In my view, it's short, but it's loaded. So, ladies and gentlemen, friends, those of you who are already tuned in, please let me say to you, even as we just started, I want to kindly ask you all to share the live with your friends, share the live with somebody you know who may have lost a loved one through gun violence or through gang culture. Maybe you are the person who have lost somebody. Share the live with them so that they too can weigh in on the discussion. If wherever you are in the Caribbean, in the world, this is a matter that affects all of us. So I want to kindly ask you to make this your business tonight by sharing it with somebody else. And so I want to read a brief citation about my guest tonight. And his name is Mr. Romario Gill. And he's a young Jamaican male, yes, who is passionate about philanthropy, youth development, and community development. He has devoted over a decade of his life, yes, and he's even if you hear the word decade, he's not old. He's very young. All right. So he has devoted over a decade. I see you laughing, to policing across the Caribbean. I'll say that again. He has devoted over a decade of his years to policing across the Caribbean diaspora, where he has successfully started 3 youth empowerment foundations. You know, when I read that, I was very surprised. I didn't know that about you. Um, where is he? Okay, are you there? Good.
I'm still here. Still here.
Foundations mentored over 400 youth and contributed. Yes, okay, great. And contributed to countless young people through academia and social development. He is aligned to a God based faith, belief, and poetic and comedic relief. He likes to laugh. He's just someone who is committed to improving learning and impacting the future positively. In a nutshell, just in a nutshell, this is the person that we have before us. And if I am to testify on your behalf, I would say that I've read this and a number of the points that you've shared about yourself, I have seen in action. I've actually seen it before I read it in that sense. And so I will say that from the time I've moved to this country and I've been introduced to you and I met you, you have been one of the persons who I think I can easily say he loves young people and has a passion for youth. So I've said enough. What else do you want the folks to know about you?
Uh, Thank you so much for that beautiful reading. I am, first of all, honored, tremendously honored. You did me a lot of justice. I have so much more to share about me, and I guess throughout this discussion, we'll definitely get into how this culture and my job and everything, how it works together to really bring about this topical issue and how we could address it or put steps in place. So definitely in our conversation, we'll definitely be going out. But let me just identify that my attire tonight was actually recommended by a friend. Well, actually by a loved one, who said that make sure that I come out tonight to show that there's a difference from where we're coming from and where we are. So thank you very much for that.
Sure, I love that. I love that. Yes, our attire must definitely speak for us from time to time. Some of us don't really care about attire, to be honest, but it's important. It has its place and its time, I think. And so, yeah, always when you come to the youth center, you dress the part. And there are times he doesn't always come dressed like this. There are times the young people will not even know that among them is a police officer because he comes dressed like them. And sometimes even in his clown uniform, I call it a clown uniform with the colored socks, and he comes to play ball with them, basketball, and they don't even know that, hey, this is a police officer who is playing ball with us because you mingle so well and mix in so well with them that sometimes they don't even know that you're an officer. So yeah, you know how to
Most
dress
definitely.
the part. Yeah.
Most definitely. Thank you again.
All right. So you are here. Everybody might be wondering, well, where is he? Is he in Jamaica? Because we said he's Jamaican. Is he in Dominica? Because I'm Dominican. Where are we? Where are you based, sir?
We're now presently in the island of Providenciales on the Turks and Caicos Islands. Beautiful by nature. I'm actually recording from my private studio. I mean, my closet.
I think we're having some technical. Yeah, we're having a little bit of breaking up with your connection.
With
I'm
my
not
side.
sure. I know mine might also. I don't know if it's your mic, but it has a lag. So
Are you hearing
I'm
me
not sure
now?
if you're located. If it's your I'm hearing you. Yes. So I
Okay.
don't know. Maybe it's just the internet that's a little weak too. Yeah.
My sincerest
So
apology. I think it's raining. It's raining outside.
yeah,
So that might be a
yeah.
little bit of
We have some storms outside, thunder, lightning from hours now. Yeah,
that's definitely. But we're praying against it. Let's see if we can
that's
power
right.
through.
That's right.
Definitely.
So go ahead. You can go over again. You were saying where
Yes.
you're based. So maybe you can
So
say it
most
again.
definitely, I'm based in the island of Providenciales in the Turks and Caicos Islands. We're both from that area now, and as I stated before, I'm basically in my closet, streaming to you live from the Turks and Caicos Islands, where I am a police officer and I work closely with the youth and the youth center with Miss Paul.
All right, thank you so much. Yes, so and it's been my pleasure to meet you, and I guess in dialoguing with you and hearing some of your stories and even like seeing your interaction with young people, I thought you'd be a good person to talk to about this subject of gun violence and gang culture. So as we go into the discussion, considering the weather and hoping that it gets better, we want to maximize our time that we have. Um, Gun violence, you have been an officer for over 10 years, and you've not just worked in Turks and Caicos as a police officer, you've also worked in Jamaica. Anywhere else that you worked, by the way, apart
No,
from
but
this?
I've done virtual conferences and virtual presentations across the other spaces, but definitely
Okay,
physically in Jamaica and in the Turks and Caicos Islands. I know in Dominica.
okay, here we go. I like that. Yes, because that's crucial for us. And by the way, for those who do not know and are wondering why are we even talking about this, gun violence and gun culture is and exploring solutions, is because in recent times in my island, where I'm from, which is the Commonwealth of Dominica, as the Haitians here would say, La Dominique. One of the things that we've been experiencing in recent times in parts of my island is a sort of increase, you could say, of gun violence, where people are not just getting shot and injured, which is already bad in itself and puts a strain on our health care system, but also that we've seen people lose their lives and families have been left bereaved as a result of that kind of act. And so some people say it's more than just, it's not just some weird individual thing, but it is connected to the gang culture as well. So that's the backdrop of why we're having this dialogue tonight. Yeah. So how do you define or view when you hear the term gun violence? What comes to your mind? How do you define this?
Well, I guess two words really are self-explanatory. I
Mm-hmm.
guess gun violence comes off just off the bat as it is, where
Yeah.
a weapon, pistol, high-powered rifle, is utilized in the committal of a crime. And these
Mm-hmm.
crimes range from as simple as threatening to use the firearm in a threatening manner to as deadly as homicide, which we're seeing a very high spike in our Caribbean
Mm,
diaspora. And I guess that's why we're here tonight about that gun violence.
yeah. Yeah. And you said it's spiking, and very much so it is spiking. And I did a video some time ago on my channel, on my YouTube channel, and one of the statements that I made was that gun violence is not indigenous to the Caribbean, in the sense that it didn't start in the Caribbean. It's not even something that we should be struggling with if you really think about the fact that we don't even create guns, we don't make
Yes.
guns in the region,
Yes.
but we are loaded with guns in our region, right?
Mhm.
So it is something, it is spiking. And I will reference that just last week, the Minister of Security in my country, in Dominica, made a statement. And among other things, he said, one of the things he said was that people should not obsess. He used the term people should not obsess over the issue of gun violence and, I dare say, the gang culture. And I thought to myself, I don't think we should obsess, no, but we should be concerned. And we should definitely not just say, well, don't obsess over it, so let's just move on as if it didn't happen, or let's just move on, it will go away. But that we should actually give attention to the subject, not merely to lament over what has already passed, in my view, but to explore ways in which we can now be proactive to prevent further such activities. Yeah. So
Most definitely.
yeah. So what is your experience as an officer? What is your experience with gun violence and even the gang culture? And even how would you describe the gang culture? And I'm not asking you to pinpoint countries. I'm saying in general, your knowledge based on the region. Hmm.
Most definitely. Most definitely. And well said. Uh, it doesn't help to turn a blind eye to these things. These things are really, really real, and they're
Hmm.
affecting not just simply a community. It's
Yeah.
affecting, as you said earlier, the healthcare system. It's affecting the
Mhm.
financial state of our countries. It's affecting who visits, why they visit, when they visit,
Yeah.
because of these violence. And across the entire Caribbean basin, there is a large dependence on tourism. And I think that in recent times we've seen where the United States of America has deployed certain damning images about how much gang violence or how much a certain violence is affecting a certain community, and that
Yeah.
you should stay away from it, or your this community is actually on a red notice. So because
Hmm.
of that, we've seen where we're almost at a loss just because of gang
Yeah.
violence. No,
Yeah.
these firearm related issues don't stem from us, as you clearly stated, us having manufacturing of these firearms. These
Hmm.
firearms are being filtered in from elsewhere into
Yeah.
our communities, into our cities, and now to even our young boys. And
Yeah.
that is where now gang violence is coming even more of an uncontrollable explosion.
Yeah, an uncontrollable explosion. And for those who might be thinking that we're using inflated language and making it seem like it's more, I hope they're probably rethinking that and recognizing that, as a matter of fact, what this phenomenon is major. And if we don't, as a nation, as a region, as a people, if we don't talk about it and do something about it that is very proactive, we will find ourselves in a lot of problems because we will not be able to move about as freely as we would desire. We would not be able to um, enjoy the freedoms that we enjoy. And of course, you mentioned the tourism industry. Most of our little islands are now dependent on some aspects of tourism. If even if it's not probably the main industry in some of our islands, or probably, but it's quickly rather becoming a very strong component of our economies within the region. And even here where we live in this island, we know that the main industry is tourism. And so imagine if this phenomenon, it just gets so highly blown out of proportion, highly just uncontrollable. What it's going to do to the economy of even this island and all our islands in the region. So you're right. You're definitely right about this, in my view. Yeah. Um,
Yes.
I've seen some statistics from amnesty.org, and I was rather blown away by some of the things that they said about gun violence. And allow me to just quote a little bit of what I saw. It says gun violence is violence committed with firearms, as you said earlier, such as handguns, shotguns, or semi-automatic rifles. More than 600 people are estimated to die every day. Think about that, bro. More than 600 people are
Jesus.
estimated to die every day from gun violence, with two-thirds of the gun-related deaths, including suicides, occurring in just 6 countries in descending order: Brazil, the United States, Venezuela, Mexico, India, and Colombia. Now, that is not me saying that. That's amnesty.org. People can look it up for themselves. It says up to 71% of homicides globally involve gun violence, and the majority of victims and perpetrators are young men. The majority are young men, but women are also at particular risk of violence from an intimate partner possessing a firearm from time to time. All right.
Indeed.
Of course, it goes on with a whole lot of other things, but I want to read that part. It says more than 1 billion firearms are in circulation globally. More than that, more than 1 billion are in circulation around the world, right? The vast majority, which is about 85%, are in the hand of private individuals. Officer, you're an officer, of the law. It tells me 85% of the guns outside there are not in the hands of you, the law enforcers, the police officers, the people who are supposed to have them. 85% are in the hands of private individuals. 13% are in the military arsenals, and only 2% are owned by law enforcement agencies. This is major. I mean, this
Super.
is almost, it's mad and it's scary. And of course, they link gun violence close to the issue of drug trafficking, the drug trade, and so on. All right.
Mhm.
So let's talk about this a little more. Where from the statistics I read, what goes through your mind?
Whoa. It's a staggering number, knowing that we have about 8 billion people, and having one
Yeah,
1% of that is really in just guns. It's crazy to think about it. And when you remove the scope about the entire world and bring it down to the Caribbean, you're looking at a very small number of people. You're looking at
yeah,
less than 50 million people within the Caribbean basin. And if that 1 billion has some large portion in the Caribbean, we're almost at a loss. And that is where the crazy numbers come about when you look
yeah,
at the population versus how much gun violence are happening, how much murders are happening, how much serious crime is happening in a community. It just skyrockets.
yeah,
And that is where we come back now
yeah,
to show that most of the victims, you read it just now, from that poll are men, young men. And
yeah,
whenever this gun devil spreads
yeah,
itself all throughout our lands, all throughout these places, they are utilized not by the law enforcement officers, not by any army or military personnel. Most of these and better high powered caliber, better rifles, better
yes.
shotguns are in the hands of criminals, in the hands of people who don't even understand how
That's what I've heard.
destructive one bullet is, much less an entire clip. So we're at a loss when I hear that number.
Mm,
1 billion
yeah.
firearms to 8 billion people. That's wild. Very, very wild. And that's too much, honestly. I know that across the plane,
Yes. So a
many,
billion
many law
out there,
enforcement.
we don't.
You go ahead. I think I'm hearing you.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. My
It's
sincere
fanning up a
apologies.
little.
So I saw that where
Okay, go ahead. No, you go. Sorry.
many countries
Yeah,
try
that's
to
fine.
put in other amnesties as one major thing to ask persons with illegal firearms to bring in their firearms.
Yeah,
In that way, you will not be penalized
yeah,
for having bring that firearm back to the government system, so that they could either dispose of it or make good use of it. And I've seen that across the entire basin of the
do you,
Caribbean, where they're.
yeah.
You go
Do you
ahead.
think it is an sorry, do you think you said you've seen the use of amnesties across the region. Do you see it as a very productive means to deal with the gun violence issue?
I see that it is a very productive means to deal with a certain populace in the gun community.
Uh-huh.
Now, that
Okay.
amnesty mostly is taken up by older firearm holders, private firearm holders who have been given a firearms license by their governing system. So
Yeah,
they are the
yeah.
ones who might have gone defaulted in their firearm keeping, upkeep, or presenting the firearms to certain things, for checking the firearms to their industry, and because of that, that firearm becomes defaulted. So most persons who bring back in the firearms on amnesties are actually those persons and not actually criminals or young people. And that is where the challenge really falls.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. But I will say, over the last week as well, in a media broadcast, the or a press conference in Dominica, the minister highlighted that the law enforcement in our country, along with the support of the RSS, of the RSS, of course,
Yes, my lady.
regional security, right?
Yes.
Right. So um, they have been able to get at least five firearms brought in, through, well, no, actually one person, I should say, called and said that they wanted to bring in their firearm, and they were scared, and so they were told where to leave it, make sure it's not loaded, etc., and where to leave it, and so on. And the person literally did leave it, and of course vacated the area, and then the firearm was taken, because as the minister said, they're not looking for the person at that point. What they want are to get the guns out of the street. But that the along, I suppose, it may be other searches that the officers were able to undertake, they were able to get at least another four, including that one, about
Oh,
five firearms off the street. So I think one less is always great, right? One less is always great. So, but it's interesting the point that you made, that a lot of the times the people who come forward with those guns or with those arms, it's people who they had a license but probably did not maintain them, and they probably expired. Those licenses have do you have expiry dates? Do you know?
indeed, indeed, indeed. They have expiry dates and they have a certain timeline which you have to come and check. Make sure that all the things that they gave to you are still in good standing.
Mm.
They have their ways to check it to make sure that it's not being utilized in a way or in a without being reported. Um,
Uh,
in addition to that same amnesty, I've seen where your minister, your PM, was actually ramping up different task force. So even those four firearms that were found, I see where there's more foot patrol, more beat patrols in the communities. I see where
mhm.
they're trying to stem this fight against gun violence. But I think
Yeah.
when we get to gang culture, we'll see where it is that one part to fix something doesn't mean everything will fix. And that we
It's
need to have a more proactive approach as we talked about earlier.
All right. So that's a great way for us to segue, probably to incorporate now the whole gang culture, as they are so related. Can you speak a little bit about your knowledge on gang culture? Maybe how you've seen it in your work, how it has probably wreaked havoc in among the people, the young people that you probably encounter in your work. Can you speak a little bit about that?
So firstly, let me say that my name, as was stated earlier, is Omari Gale. I'm actually from the heart of one of the most hardened garrisons or ghettos that Jamaica has ever produced, from the West Kingston community, Tivoli Gardens, where it's classified as the mother of all garrisons. Uh,
Wow.
and here I have been, sadly, I've been exposed to gang violence from a very, very tender age. So I have a first-hand knowledge of how destructive and um, how powerful a child becomes whenever they're equipped with
Mm-hmm.
an
Mm-hmm.
illegal weapon.
Wow.
Um, so I've known persons who can't afford food but still had a firearm in the house. I've known persons who swore that the firearm was a necessity in them being able to survive another day. Um, and going into policing, the culture was just heightened because I'm in communities after communities, seeing more underage persons with firearms in hand, with different caliber weapons, committing atrocities against their own brothers and sisters,
Mm-hmm.
or against their own household.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I've seen it in other countries and seen that there's definitely something happening amongst everybody. Why everybody choose the same exact road when it comes down to these firearms?
Hmm. So there's a common thread. You're saying that there's a common thread within that society, or that community, as or the ghetto or the garrison, whatever you want to call it. Have you been able to pinpoint that common thread?
Righty. There seems to be several, but they're woven together so closely. I think that one of the greatest thing is neglect. We don't understand how powerful or how devastating neglect is. And
Mm-hmm.
as is, neglect has caused so many of our young men to run into the arms of other very, very detrimental people. So when we neglect them, when a parent has to work 4 jobs to cover certain things and leaves a child home to their own devices, when nobody picks up their child from school and the child has to walk home and pass this community, and one person in that community either seems like a role model or offers them something genuine or gives them the time of day, sometimes these boys just slip right into the cracks and become a part of the statistics that society tries to. And I'm pretty sure that you're very much aware of that sometimes when it comes
Yeah.
on to how boys are young people are neglected.
Yes, you're bringing up a very interesting point here, because one of the things that I have also observed and lamented about in our society is that people say he's a boy, so it's all right. He can walk home alone. He's a boy. If it's a girl, they make the time, pick her up, make sure she gets home safely. The boy is left to roam, or the girl is to be home at 6 p.m., but the boy is left to be home at 7, 8, 9, and or if nobody checks when he comes. The girl is given probably some supervision over the fact that the boy, oh, he'll be all right. Sometimes some parent, not every parent, but some parents do that because they think it's just a boy, and it boils down to he can't get pregnant. He's a boy, but not thinking that he can also get abused and made and taken advantage of by people, even if he's a boy. And so yeah, that aspect of it certainly. And so yes, I have seen that, but you also raise the point of neglect in the context of being left to fend for themselves and or falling in the trap and in the hands of the wrong people, because the people who are supposed to take care of them probably are just trying to make a living, trying to pay the bills, trying to put food on the table, does not have the quality time or the ability to make quality time, probably to be with them, of around them, maybe that. But it is a serious issue, because when they are left, they see other people with the different things that attract them, that make them think, well, Mr. has it, Mr. Living, that is all, oh, but and then the person who also takes advantage of them, of the neglected person, they see the need, they recognize the need of that young person, and they offer them something that would tell them or give them the assurance, boy, I can take care of you, and they give that to them. They offer them the option to go do that for me. I will give this to you in
Mhm.
quick time, and then they fall prey to the hands of these people, and then they become debtors, you could say, to these people who become their masters in a certain kind of way. They become debtors. They owe these people now, and they feel obligated to be able to sort of meet that responsibility. And then of course we see the trend whereby when they try to leave, we know what
Mm,
happens. We know what
indeed,
happens. Mhm.
indeed, indeed. Well said, well said. It's not easy, but it's obvious some of the times, and we pay little attention to the obvious.
Yeah.
I think we opened earlier with saying that hey, we don't have to focus on it. But truly, to how detrimental it is, we need to start focusing a little more.
Yes.
Or at present, we it's almost like a system of a continuous system.
Hmm.
Now, back in my days, it seemed like I'm talking about early days. It seemed like a young man being in criminality was unheard of. You could not be close to those men because those men actually have certain respect for the community.
Hmm.
So you can't go home, go your yard, head home, go to
Yes.
school,
Hmm.
that was it. But then as the age deteriorates, so does the values, and so does the cause and effect. So it's
Hmm.
you can carry out that execution. If you do that, you're a man. Oh, if you want a clocks, if you want a shoes, back home that was a crazy part of it. Seeing young men with just a single shoes from a certain um
Brand, maybe.
a certain space, a brand shoes Clarks, a brand shoes Timberland, and once it is that you have that on, you are now represented. You're now a part of this family,
Hmm.
albeit a very bloody family, but these boys feel at home.
Wow. So I'm hearing here that the need for belonging, and even if it is a dangerous environment, but when they're in it, they feel like they belong. They have a certain level of acceptance
Mhm,
from somebody or some
mhm,
people. And
mhm.
be it that, oh, the fact is, it's dangerous, it's not the best place, but they feel at home. How do
I,
we? Yeah, go ahead.
I don't mean to cut you before that question comes out,
Yeah.
but I remember this famous saying back home, probably in 2017, 2018, 2019. I'd hear 14, 13, 15-year-old boys saying the slang, if a dirt. And it comes off the bottom. Everybody's like, okay, if a dirt, it might sound good. But they're saying that if I'm going to die,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to die. I'm putting myself out there, putting myself before danger, putting myself against this other group, against these other people, because if a dirt for my group, for my people. When really and truly these boys are so afraid and fragile that if you remove them from that community, if you remove them from that environment for even 2 weeks, you'll see great results.
So have you seen that kind of transformation?
Yes. So my mentor, longtime mentor, um, she was actually commissioner of police in Jamaica. Her name is Noblet Grant. She had a massive group of people with
Mm-hmm.
her, Madam Jacqueline Dillon, uh, and a lot of our people, close knitted people. We went around the islands of Jamaica where every summer we actually had summer programs that we tried not to say that it's targeting them, but
Yeah.
we targeted those boys, we targeted those young people, we targeted those people that have been have run afoul of the law, that has been closely monitored by other police officers, and we brought them into camps. And this was youth empowerment and mentorship camps. It was an iPad camp. It was tremendous, tremendous, tremendous. We went with these people. We took phones from them for the 2 weeks, and the first 2 days was hell on earth.
Yeah.
What kids are like, yo, get me back my stuff. And we're talking about over 200 kids. We want to go back home. We want to do this. I would take them out of their communities, remove them all together, and brought them to some remote area. And by day 4, we had some speakers coming talking about the simple question of who am I?
Yeah.
The simple question about branding, the simple question about why am I here? The simple question of where would I like to be? What is
Mm.
my destiny? And these kids started finding themselves. We started doing simple things like having a birthday party for a child. Some of them have never had that before.
Yeah.
We brought them small gifts, so small gifts, nothing large, nothing fancy. And these things meant so much to them that they were willing to go for the next week. We took them on trips for that weekend. We had a banquet at the end of the week where we gave them different etiquette skills. We did so much mindset reset that a lot of these kids came out and became top scholars. We have children who have soared beyond in the entrepreneurial space and in other spaces where it's just a miracle. And I was ranting because this is a passionate point of mine. Um, but I'm telling you, there's so much that can be done whenever we really apply certain things to these youths.
So I'm hearing there that number one, you and that group of people, that team of people recognize that these boys, they are people too. One.
Yeah.
And I did a video some time ago, not too long, and one of the things I was saying is that these are real people. Like they have blood, they have hearts, they have minds, they feel. And even in the midst of that crazy life of having a gun and trying to maybe quote unquote make a living, feel accepted, that they belong, they have feelings and they can love because if you and I use the example of if you were to go to tell one of these boys, boy, your mother something, or
Mm.
boy, your sister this and that, and they love these people, you will
Oh,
see a flip side of them where they will want to defend the people that they love, amidst all the hatred that they have between themselves, hurting each other, trying to maybe fight for their turf and so on. They are real people. And so recognizing that, and you said taking them out of the environment. Interestingly, it was for 2 weeks. Must have been a hell of a budget. If you tell me 200 people to feed 200 people, to take them out from where they are, transportation, move them to another place, of course, security. I'm sure it was a hell of a budget, but pulling them out of that community. I don't know how you all got them to even sign up to be there and to go. Obviously, the resistance was there once they got to those places and they recognized they have no phones and so on. But you have seen the result. And granted, we may all agree, maybe not 100% result, but certainly something that you significant to you.
Yes, most significant. I think that throughout all of it, I think I can remember now being on several camps because I think we'd start like at the end of school term between June and we'd end about close to the end of the week in August. So we'd be traveling through different parishes and grabbing these people together. And
Wow.
I remember now that probably two or three persons were removed from the camp. But
Okay.
out of that massive number, we had a great turnout.
Mhm.
I remember this one boy in this other violent torn community who was really angry, and he just kept on fighting and doing so much to get away from us, so much to get out of the space. And I don't remember how, but I think there was a physical confrontation where he actually grabbed me. And while he grabbed me, I got a hold of him from the waist up. And when I got a hold of him, I held him so long. He was fighting for about 6 minutes. Every other police was around me saying, Gail, just let him go. Let's lift him up. And. And I'm like, no, just give me this time with him. And I held him for about 5 minutes until in the midst of the shouting, we just started hearing crying. We just started hearing the breaking. And through that, the guy just started communicating all the things that were affecting him, all the things that were on his mind, all the things that he never had. And we realized that we had to do more. So when you talked about how large our budget is, we had a huge group of stakeholders that believed in this.
Okay.
And that's
Excellent.
the great part, because we had persons who were not just giving us financial aid, but
Yeah.
persons who were actually coming physically to tell their side of the story. Persons who were willing to offer these boys jobs, persons who were willing to take these boys from their space and adopt them from different areas. Because some of these people were orphans, some of these people were living in single parent households, some of these people were raising their own younger siblings. So they needed help, and we had a massive team that really focused on helping.
Man, I'm shivering just listen to you. I'm getting goosebumps because this I am trying to imagine this, and it is not just imagine, it's not imagination, it's more than that, it's action. It's just trying to picture everything that you're telling me and the impact, and I'm trying to know, sort of locate it in my own locality, being my hometown and my country furthermore, and seeing how possibly can some of these young people who may not necessarily even be the ones directly involved, but even those who are tempted or who are being lured into becoming part of those movements and those gangs and those the trade that is causing the deaths and so on of these young people. How do we probably get them out of where they are and move them into a new environment? But clearly, that is one strategy that can be employed from what you're saying, that sometimes you have to take people out of where they are and move them to another place and empower them, not just move them and leave them, but empower them, give them resources, give them the belief in themselves, help them to discover who they truly are, because that's who they're searching for the longest while, without even knowing that they're looking for
Indeed,
themselves you know
indeed, indeed. I remember seeing this young politician. He's not a politician. He was just on the young arm of that group. He was a debater, very brilliant person. And I remember he saying to me after he came into another community that I was featuring, teaching, mentoring, and he was very adamant that he wanted substantial change, and
hmm
that was great coming from somebody who was even younger than me, and hearing him talking about substantial changes. And the first arm of that is always consistency.
yeah,
Consistency is key,
yeah.
because after 8 hours of school, if you
hmm
have to go back into that same environment, it will be like backpedaling.
Yeah.
after 8 hours of school and 4 hours of the youth center, and then
Mm-hmm.
going back into that environment is backpedaling. Having eight
Mm-hmm.
hours of school, 4 hours of youth center, and then 2 hours of mentorship. It
Yeah.
somehow bridges that gap where that child has food, eating, somebody watching, somebody talking, and then it
Mm-hmm.
creates that lull that almost lets him wake up in a new 24 hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think you
mentorship
said that.
is another one.
Mhm.
I have seen you come into the youth center and impact these boys. I watched you for summer. We had a boys' camp, and I watched you just mingle with and empower and reassure young men from the community that their lives are worth so much more than just being there. Their lives are worth so much more, and just helping them to see that they are safe spaces, that they can be themselves. And what was amazing was us women, we were outside. We never tried to budge into your camp. I only came to your door when I had to talk to you, give you some updates on something or something like that. But for the most part, I mean, you guys kept the boys together, and just the impact of you and Mr. David as well, and all the guests who came in during summer to talk to the boys and to interact with them and to empower them. And so I'm using this to say that consistency, yes, mentorship you mentioned. Our boys or men or young boys need mentorship, and girls need mentorship too, but we're kind of talking about the boys a bit more, because what we can see is that the majority of the people, and as the statistics have actually shown, that the majority of the people involved in this situation are young men, and who we see that we're losing in droves are our young men, and so we have to pay attention to them. Yeah.
Most definitely. Most definitely. So I think that I'm glad that the youth center has been a recurring piece of this. Um, I'm honored at any point in time to be a part of this. I remember even being a part of uh, the Firm Foundation Ministries, where their youth group led me to another set of youths who needed help, and then getting to another community in 5 youth, getting to close to these children, understanding the need, understanding the necessity that
Yeah.
was there. I'm trying to provide it. Uh, it's hard. It's hard sometimes, and my mentor is not speaking straight directly to me, and she's saying it takes cash to care. You know,
Yes. Yeah.
and sometimes it's hard. Um, but I don't know. I usually ask. I think when you're speaking just now, I was saying hallelujah, because sometimes I think about it and think about how much I've given, and the fact that I'm still able to survive shows that there's some blessing in something
Yeah.
there. There's
Yes.
something rooted in us helping, and I think we might look at it as something insurmountable by ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
but together, talking about as a 20 people from Dominicans,
Yeah.
decided to get up together and say, you know what, we're gonna. And I think you told me a story when we first met, where there was like these different communities, and you used to go into the communities, go into the spaces, and did some real good work, and it
Mm-hmm.
caused a certain life to be brought back. And I don't know why you're thinking that you have goosebumps when I had goosebumps hearing these things, knowing that there are
Yeah.
many persons in different islands, in different spaces, thinking the same thing, trying to help, trying to do their best. And believe me, it goes further than we think.
Yes, I agree. It does go further than we think, and the nature of our work is not one where you can automatically see the change. In some cases, you may see, some quick little change in behavior and so on, but the long-term impact is what will speak for us and the nature of the work that we do. And one of the things I've learned over time is that social work is not the work that is seen as, oh, let's put a lot of money into it, or let's invest a lot of money into that particular ministry that deals with youth and that deals with social impact and so on. Because the sole reason it's not seen as income generating, it's more income taking rather than income generating. But I want to say that the statement that you made, or the phrase that you use, that it takes cash to care, goes a long way, and that if people, if our authorities within the region And I'm not just talking about like my island, I'm talking about across the board. And even not just authorities, but all the stakeholders. You spoke about people who have businesses and they give, but you also spoke about people who are armed with knowledge and skills and technical things that they can bring to the fore. If everybody recognizes that this is our problem and we have to solve it together, then
Yes,
more resources will be put into ensuring that we can save our young men, we can save our boys, and we can hopefully create a safer space for everybody in the process of doing so.
indeed, indeed. I think my co-director from Chance Foundation. That
Yeah.
chance is spelled with an S. So it's CHANSE, which is
Oh,
Committed Hands Advocating for National Social Equity. So that's
mm,
Chance.
yeah.
And Chance Foundation, we thought about that holistic approach. We thought about it indefinitely. So what we did first was we did certain things together with our youth, where we walked out and we did some walkathons. That's what we call it in Jamaica, where we walked around and we basically asked for persons to help us to create certain dreams. We had
Mm,
different sales, different engagements. We raised different funds, and as soon as we did this, those same children who people might have written off, people might have said, "Oh, them bad, oh, them always not this, oh, them not got this." Them, those same children, we utilized them, and we did we did job fairs,
yeah.
and we did resume classes before job fairs, and we hired those kids, and those
Mm,
kids from that went on to donating about, I think, the equivalent of probably 4,000 US dollars into food for orphanage, and they went to the orphanage and helped to feed the kids and helped to take care of the kids, and saw that even though I might be a small piece of the pie, there's other people out there, and to see your mentees become mentors,
yes. Yes. Yes.
believe me,
Powerful. Powerful and encouraging. It makes you want to continue to do and to make a difference. Makes you want to continue to give because you are seeing the impact of your work, right?
yeah.
You're seeing the impact of your work.
I've seen one of our most prominent persons that we've seen throughout. He's not known for everything good, but he survived, and that's a big thing.
Yeah.
Um, his name is Rowan Brown, but I think the world know him as Silk Boss from Jamaica. We remember meeting him first at one of our camps, and
Okay, you
we
might want to
found,
say his internet.
huh?
Can you just backtrack a little? Just
Oh,
a
my
little. You
apologies.
you were speaking
Yes.
about somebody. You mentioned his name, but we had a
Yes. So
yeah.
his correct name is Rohan Brown, and his more
Uh huh.
popular name is Silk Boss. That's an artist from Jamaica,
Okay.
very very prominent now.
Yeah.
Probably not for all the good things, but he
Mm,
survived. And I remember meeting him the first time. We bonded over poetry or over
yeah.
lyrics or over writing songs, and we even had
So
this,
when you say
bout.
he survived, was he shot? Was he shot?
At 13 years old, he was involved in one of the most dangerous
That was your turn to
operations
get.
in Jamaica. So at 13 years old, I was
Okay.
about
13.
17 minutes.
1-3.
Yes, yes, he came from a far community to my community, the mother of our garrisons, to fight a war
Yeah.
with police officers at 13 years old. His twin brother died that same night that he came with,
Um,
and he escaped with his life. When we got him at the camp, he confessed to
yeah.
everything and told us about it, and he just said he wanted a chance. And today
Okay.
we can see that he is a survivor. He came through, he came out of a very hard place, and
Mm-hmm.
now he is at a better space, even
Yeah.
influencing other people, talking about the stories of his life and about the challenges. So
Yeah.
gun crimes, gun culture, and gang culture, they go so close in hand because
Mm-hmm.
people are so afraid to touch into it and to look at it for too long. It's a taboo thing, and the
Yeah.
communities are a bit afraid, and the police are trying their best. But the informer culture, the culture of tip line and information coming into them is so dry that these gang cultures, gun violence, they fester and they're
Yes.
festering. But now we need to put in some more effort into it to see how best we can go grab those boys from before. So while the police are doing their jobs, while the PM put
So
out
you
their
use
things,
the word fester. Um,
hmm
yeah.
I'm hearing you. You go ahead.
Yeah. Our internet is giving us some blows tonight. I think nighttime is also an issue here with internet, because maybe that's when most people are online or something. I don't know, but
Understood. Understood.
it keeps freezing a little. Hopefully, I'll try to get something where I can hard connect my internet going forward. But that computer does not allow me to hard connect my internet, which is ridiculous. So I'll
I get
see.
you. I
I'll
get you.
see
I
how I
get
can
you.
fix it. Yeah, but I'm hoping that folks are actually, the people are actually getting something out of this. And I was trying to see if I could find anybody linking with us online. I don't know if you have anybody making some comments as well from your own Facebook page or something. But I will say that when we give young people an opportunity and a space for them to be honest and to be open, a number of them will actually take it for what it's worth and surprise us in that way. When a young man can come out and say, "Look, I did this, but I want a chance," and so that says something too. Is the society, or is our society willing to forgive people? No, I'm not saying that even when we forgive them, that they should not probably pay for the crime that they have done, right? Because I don't know in terms of the legal implications of the young man confessing and what was it. He was 13, so he was a minor when he did whatever he would have done, right? So most likely that would have probably saved his life from going to hardcore prison if that's the system in your country. So lucky in a sense that, so if in society,
Mhm.
are we forgiving enough to give these young people a chance, right? So that they can consider a new way of life. It's something that we also have to think about.
Most definitely. Most definitely. Most definitely. I've done my little research, and I know
Yeah.
that since about 2016,
Mm-hmm.
um I know that pre 2016,
Yeah.
um
Probably save his life
across
from
our space we've had certain lull in the
Mhm.
violence, especially gun violence.
Yeah.
Jamaica started seeing a spike since in the 80s. Um, Presently where we're at started seeing a spike in about the 2018s,
Mm-hmm.
and in Dominica we're starting to see that spike coming out,
Yeah.
and we've seen over 300 different gun offenses committed. And I can tell you that in Jamaica, I'm pretty sure that we're closer to, from 2016 till now, we're closer to over probably 100,000 gun violence. You know,
Yeah, that's
um,
really, it's really
yeah.
sad. I think, though, I must say that recently I heard, and I have not seen the statistics myself, but I have
Mhm.
heard I think an address from the Prime Minister of Jamaica most recently, and he was saying that the crime rate has gone down by a certain percentage. And interestingly, today I saw an article, and I did not record what was the source of the article, but they were
Mhm.
saying that Jamaica recently joined islands like the Dominican Republic, Dominica, and I think a few other islands within the region who
Mhm.
have seen in recent time a
I read
spike,
that.
which is great, a
Mhm.
spike in tourism,
Mm.
in visits from tourists
I
into the
get you.
country. So I thought that is positive, and it's probably because people are hearing less of the crimes or the crime rate has actually decreased in these countries to a certain extent. So it is a war in terms of us trying to ensure that we preserve, you could say, the safe nature of our
That's a good.
region, right?
That's a good.
Everybody knows that generally the Caribbean is generally considered a safe place, but of course we have that
Definitely.
internal struggles with a few elements, I would say, in society who fall prey to the violence and fall prey to that kind of lifestyle and create a more difficult transition for the younger ones, and of course for those of us who are trying to thrive in holistic ways, you could say.
Most definitely. I'm not sure. As we asked this question earlier regarding, how it is that the violence, or
Yeah.
is it that it's becoming that rampant? We have many outside influences. We
Mm-hmm.
have persons who are already a part of the system who have nothing productive to teach our boys.
Mm-hmm.
We have so much on other music
Yeah.
on some of our violent games, some of our violent movies,
Hmm.
and the Caribbean, especially my country. I'm pretty sure that we put out so much um, heavy killing in our music and in our language that sometimes it trickles down to the people that we don't see. Um,
That
and
is so true. The power of music and the lyrical content of what we expose the children to do have effect on long-term behaviors. And I know that there are some people, "Oh, it's just music. Oh, we're just making our money." And all respect to you in that regard, but have they stopped to think about the impact of the lyrical content of what they're singing on the young, unsuspecting, very vulnerable minds that have not yet been formed to be,
Mhm.
you could say, there's a word for it, um, being able to decipher the messages and to choose and
So
not choose the good and leave out the bad, that sort of thing, to censor some things and say, "Nah, that's not good for me. Nah, I don't think I want to take that on." And just open, they're just open to whatever it is that people are selling to them. And it
yes,
creates indeed a certain kind of behavior. It contributes, I should say, to a certain kind of behavior among our young people and among
yes, Miss
people on.
Paul. I'm telling you that many of our youths don't actually have any interaction with the police, but they have a culture to say we Babylon,
Yeah.
the police, you know. But you're asking them, hey, what kind of interaction have you or your family ever had with the police that
Yeah.
you're so angry or so set off by the police? And they're
Mhm.
like, I just heard it, you know, or that's what they said, or probably a child, a young child, you know, a mommy hold it, say, I'm going to take it to the police station, and that creates
Yeah.
that thought in the back of the mind, and the cognitive is not so fully developed that the child actually has this standoffish and this almost heart attack
Hmm.
episode, a panic attack when it comes onto that. And yet still our gun culture, the violence, the songs, the things, we're warming up to it, we're more inviting of it, we're singing it, we're firing our blanks, we're talking about it, we're doing our dance with our gun fingers up, and you know it brings up all of this negativity
Yeah.
into our very soft and moldable minds. So
Hmm.
um
So
I mhm,
I remember seeing you conduct a session with some of our boys a Saturday morning here at the youth center. And I remember you asked them a question about how they view the police. And we had mixed reactions, of course, from the group of boys who were there. And I think by the end of the session, a lot of them left with a very different perspective from what they came with, and also just the way that they related to you after the session could show that they were baffled. Number one, "Oh, he's a police officer for real," because everything they've learned and heard of is negative. And somebody rightly said recently that as much as you don't like the police and you say all these negative things about the police, mark you, there are some bad police officers. Let's
most
just be
definitely.
real out there. Let's just be real. Some of them are corrupt. Some of them are not honest. Some of them are very tricky. You can't trust them. Yet there are
Mhm.
some good police officers, and you are one of those officers. I think I can vouch, and yes, I know I can vouch and say that you are a good police officer. You genuinely care for the young people, care for the people that, not just young people, but the people that you encounter on a regular basis, and so they are good police officers. So when people get in trouble, who do they run to? They run to the same police station.
Mhm.
As much as they, say knock the police in all sorts of negative ways, yet we need the police. So even the language that we probably use in song and in conversation need to change if we want to also have a certain level of respect for the authority of the police in any society. We need police, we need nurses, we need doctors, we need teachers, we need police. We need these people because at the end of the day, a society without a law is an outlawed society. And we know what happens when there is no law in any country, in any society. So,
Yeah, yes. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I think that there's a large part that speaks to how do we how do we heal minds that were already broken. You know, how do
yeah.
we get in that? I think you're speaking about social welfare and social workers or even psychologists,
Mhm.
and how they have a lot to do with these young minds that have been already defaced by some harsh
Yeah.
realities. I think
Mhm.
when we went to this mental training the other day, we learned about ACEs actually, and how it speaks about um, things that childhood experiences teach us,
Yeah.
things that we see too early that we're not
Mhm.
supposed to be seeing, things that we learn too early that we're not supposed to be learning, things that we're exposed to a little bit too early. And I
Yeah.
see Miss Anderson there saying that, but sometimes the good outweigh the bad. Or I think she was
That's right.
mentioning the police.
Was
Um,
referring when you talking to the police about the police, and she's right.
yes,
She's right. That
yes,
sometimes the good outweighs the bad. Yeah.
most
Mhm.
definitely. And it comes off to this heavy part where you put a child who has gone
Sorry.
through all of this.
Let me correct that. I said the good outweighs. Sorry, she said the bad outweighs the good, and that's what I really meant to say. Yes, that the bad
Understood.
outweighs the good. Yeah. Sorry. Mhm.
And I've seen where some a child who has gone through a lot of harsh experiences throughout their entire life, um, now grown into an adult, produces very harsh things because of all those things that were stored in them. And now to
Mm,
have that person, that mind, that cognitive fixed from all the gang culture and the gun culture. We look
mhm.
back at the Americans and how the different Crips and Bloods and
Yeah.
how they have senior members teaching younger people about how to walk in this way and how to rep for your crew and how the signs that we put up, the languages that we use with our gesticulation. These
Yeah.
are all things that are affecting our youth nowadays. I've seen our boys doing things that people on a whole will say, oh, they're doing nothing wrong when they do a sign or they do a thing. Are you not noticing that these boys are communicating very harsh things to each other?
Mhm.
Wait till I catch you. When we've completed class, I'm going to meet you outside with my gun. Bring your gun. And it's impractical to know that our kids are living through this.
Mhm.
And what will our kids who go through this be like in 10 years' time, in 6 years' time? What will our kids be like if it is that we allow these gang culture and gun cultures to continuously go on without any impeding or any intermission? We've been doing our part. Clearly, you've been doing your part. I've seen you myself in with those boys, in with those girls, continuously working tirelessly. I've heard your experiences. I've heard the things that you've done. We need that collective support where me as a police officer, I need you as the person on the ground. I need you as the person who are the trainer, the mentor, the facilitator. We need a lawyer close by. We need a doctor close by because some of these young people are being molested. We
Yep.
need a politician close by to help to change these laws to be a little bit more strident on these men who take our boys and use them for these things. We need to get those masterminds out and at the same time keeping our youths right in front of what is supposed to be done and good. And that is
So
where I think that we need to be.
excellent. In a nutshell, what you're saying is there is need for a collective approach to the problem, and that is what I propose throughout. That if no one person, no one grouping has the answer, but if everybody come together and try to bring their own, our own, all these different resources together and brainstorm first of all, and then put into motion something that is going to help to direct our boys in a different route, we will see results and long-term results as well, which would be positive. So yes, yeah, you're right on the money. All I'm hearing here is collaboration, the need for a unified approach to deal with this situation. It is not a situation we should just throw water over us or let it, just run like water under the bridge, but it's a situation we should observe. Now, you mentioned certain things there, very intricate signs and symbols and gesticulations that these young people are exposed to and that they use that many people who are not aware may not even recognize. And so, even knowledge and you could say education to people who want to make a difference, to teachers, to principals, to youth workers, to even parents, for example, of some of the things that parents and that we need to look out for. Some of these signs that we may not necessarily take for anything, but when we see them, we should know, we should recognize them as early warning signs that for us to do something before they get, out of hand, is what I'm saying. I believe we need training. There is need for training across the board to look out for those signs and those things that are causing these young people to get deeper into their problems. So training, exposure to the various signs and symbols that these young people use, not just to know it, but importantly to be able to identify them and then to act upon them, to create a change of mindset.
Indeed, indeed. I'm pretty sure that I've never said this, but in other iterations of dealing with our youths, I've said it to them, where the whole embarrassing somebody's mother comes into play, and how they're quick to defend the mother. So just like my other example, I used to say to them, you love your mother, right? So yes, sir, love my mother. So okay, you love your mommy. Then why is it that when you're on the game playing and she said, Romario, come here, you say,
yeah.
Why is that? Why is that reaction? Yet you love your mommy? No, sir, because she tell me to do this. And all right, when she called it to change the TV, you don't go, sir, because they don't want the right her foot. Why she said when to wash up the plate, you don't wash up the plate. Oh, sir, because we can do it next time. And I said, but as soon as somebody disrespects your mom, you have the strength to love her, to kill somebody. Sure, sir. So if you love your mommy, show her the way, you don't have to show her in the wrong way. You can't show your mommy love through the actions that you do, through the things that you commit to do. Instead of think that obedience, instead of thinking that, oh, I have to show the world that if somebody tries to disrespect my mother, I am going to be the person to take you off the face of this earth. It doesn't show us any strength. It shows us that these people need attention and help. These people need that imprint on them, because when we don't hug our kids, when we don't say to our boys or our girls that, hey, I love you, or something as massive as I am sorry. As an adult, we think that it is too much. We think that it is out of the way to say, excuse me, to say, I am sorry, to communicate with our children with love and with respect. But yet still, whenever that man out there see the young girl and say, it look nice, she not hear it at home, so she hearing it now, and she think that, okay, I look nice. And that young man who hears, yo, who trouble you? Me go defend them for you. Who step on your shoes? Who take away your money? And that conversation develops this massive love thrusted on these people who are not good role models. And then it just continues down a negative path. Continues down that path. And it's hard to see. And that's why I'm so happy that I'm here with you, because I've heard you. I've seen what you've done. And I know that this conversation will lead to something of a unionized movement to get some of our boys and girls out of these cultures immediately.
Yes, definitely. I think there are so many nuggets in this conversation that everybody who listens to it should be able to grasp from. 1, 2, I hope that it is seen not merely as a discussion, but as a call to our societies, to our leaders or policymakers, from the grassroots man, young girl, young boy, the parents, just everybody, as a call to them as well to do something about a situation. Not merely, yes, the police have their role to play, yes, the ministers have their role to play, the politicians, but we, the social beings who are down in the grassroots, we have to do our part as well. And again, a collective approach so that we can nip this problem in the bud while it is trying to show its ugly, before it shows the real ugliness of its face even more in our society. I think about the mothers who struggle. You referenced mothers, how children would defend if you tell them something bad about their mother, but they do not give the mothers the kind of obedience that and respect that they deserve in the time when they should. We know so many bereaved mothers exist and fathers, let us see, so many bereaved mothers and fathers exist right now because of the loss of these some of these children. Granted, some of these parents did not do a very good job, not all of them, some of them did not do a very good job in protecting and raising the children as they probably should have. Some of them did and tried and give guidance and tried to tell the children not to go down that road, and try to
Mhm.
provide for them, but maybe it wasn't enough for these
Yeah.
young people, which also brings up the issue of equity and making sure that everybody has what they need, so that they can thrive and not just merely survive but thrive. It's a hard that can happen, but in reality, that's what needs to happen. So it's just a combination of factors that we cannot deal with them in isolation. We have to bring them together, and we also have to bring people together. So, like you said, for me, like this discussion that we're having tonight, I'm so thankful for it too. I'm thankful that you've come here. You've shared so many experiences of what you've been through, but more so the testimonies of the fact that there can be change and that there is hope even in a situation like that. And when you say that you grew up in one of the worst, you could say, what you'd call ghettos in your country, and to see a product like you from that community, and then to see that you go out and you've gone out and tried to impact so many lives from that community, it tells me that there is hope, and that if all of us pull our resources together, if all of us are willing to do something positive about it and work with the boys, that we can make a difference in society. Mhm.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, indeed, indeed, indeed. I posted something recently, um, where the Lord spake and he asked, who shall I send? And I think many times when we're called to action, there's a lot of us who think of Jonah running from
Yeah.
the promises that God gives to us, running from the things that we know that it's our calling. Um, but I remember listening back to that same Bible verse. It says, God says, who shall I send? And I think that I mirror that author who says, here, my Lord, send me.
Send. Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I'm called to work. I'm called to order. I'm here to work. Left Jamaica, came here to work. I have done many online interventions, interactions to work. I have
Mm-hmm.
given all I could to work.
Yes.
Um,
Yes. And you're not
because
young. You're not old. You're so young.
because I know that the bad people are not on any day off. So we have to work twice as hard as good people to make
Oh
sure
yeah.
that we get to our boys, to make sure that we get to our girls. All my
Mm-hmm.
foundations that I've created, whether to help the people who are B students, because some of our not so bright students need help too,
Yeah.
need
Yeah.
scholarships too, need sponsors too. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
homework programs targeting those people who had truancy or their illiterate rates are going down.
Mm-hmm.
It was because I saw myself in them. I saw things that I grew up with. Um,
Yeah.
my best friend Leroy Campbell died because of this. When I got the news, my knees were weak enough, knowing that I've seen so much people died. But when it
Mm-hmm.
comes right next door, it is so heartfelt.
Yeah.
I think when we spoke about this and you told me, hey, Romar, I really want to talk about this. I remember in 2010, in our incursion back home, I remember coming out the house. I was about 16 years old. And at that age, I was eligible to die. I was one of those when the
Yeah.
police or the military came into my community. And I remember standing over a sink, washing out clothes in the midst of this. And some soldiers just come right around. And I thought about it after our conversation. I was like, how did I survive that interaction? How did a soldier see me in a dead end alley by myself,
Mm-hmm.
alone, standing up, coming around with his firearm, and he never unloaded on me?
Yeah.
How did I get through those things? How did I reach this far? How did I fly on a plane? How did I get to have these threads and can look this? And I realized that it is to set the example.
Mm-hmm.
about these boys looking up on us, about these people looking to us, to
Yeah.
change the culture, to change the violence, to change
Mm-hmm.
it to as much. I would reminisce the day to say Jamaica going back to one murder per year. I know that as your group, I heard one of your speakers back home say that they'd really love to have a zero murder rate again, and we'd
Mm-hmm.
love to see that across all boards.
All the region.
Um,
Yeah.
I guess when we're ending, I definitely have a poem for you. So whenever we're
Yeah.
ending, I'll definitely
Yeah.
give you a poem before I go.
Yeah, definitely. In the next few minutes, we'll wrap up. So someone said, or Shelley said, your purpose for life on your it's the purpose on your life. I think so. God knew what He wanted with you, what He wanted you to do, and He spent your life, and you recognize that. What you asking yourself, for example, the question, why did you survive this, or why, compared to you seeing other people that be losing their lives in certain situation like this. Of course there's a reason, of course there is purpose, and I think every day that we wake up and we're given this opportunity to make a difference, that we're living out that purpose, we're called to live out rather that purpose, and that's what you've been doing. So yes, you sharing those knowledge, this knowledge and your experience in growing up in such an environment, first of all, and then being able to impact it in a positive way by joining other people to help young people fall prey to that environment. That is purpose. That is you fulfilling what God wanted you to do and wants you to do. And I see your passion for it. So it's not a case where you just talk, but you actually come. When you come to this center, you come with fire. You're ready to, you're ready to spark. You say this song, there is this song that says, it only takes a spark to get a fire going. And that's really what you do. You always come with a little spark, and then it gets ignited, and it spreads across the room, and so you impact in that way. And I think all of us who want to make a difference and we go out there and we try, that's what we're doing. We're lighting little sparks and hoping that they will set a fire. And if we a good fire, and if we are able to impact at least one life in that way, then we would be changing. I believe we would be helping a generation, at least, one generation, each of us. So um, I want to sort of, give you the opportunity probably to, in a nutshell, capture some of the solutions that you offered to us tonight. I have some, that based on what you said, but in a nutshell, give hope for, I think, no, I don't want to end with asking you this question. If, as a police officer, so yes, in your capacity as that, but also as a young man, and also as, I know, the person who loves and cares about young people in general, if you were to speak right now to maybe a young man, a young woman who they're watching, and they are either inside of a gang right now, they're part of a gang, or they're tempted to go into a gang because they are being lured, or they have a gun, and they are tempted to get one. I would like you to speak from your heart to these young people at this point, and what would you say to them in your capacity? I know
Well,
it's a combination, but just
yeah,
what would you say to them?
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Um, Definitely it's hard. It's
Yeah.
hard. But I think that even the simplest words of, hey, your life isn't meaningless. You have purpose. You are destined for something greater and better than this. And if, just if, it is that you think that you aren't, just sit with me for 5 minutes at the youth center, at the church, at the police station. I could outline to you several instances of where you can become the next great and best thing. Believe me, it is real. You are loved, and we love you all. Be blessed.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I'm happy that you ended with you are loved and we love you all. I believe these people need to know that they are loved, that they are people, that they are appreciated, that they were not made for destruction, but they were made for a positive change. They were made to love and to enjoy life in a positive way, and to help other people to enjoy their lives, in a positive way. So I really want to echo that you are loved message, that they are loved, that they are precious, that they were made with purpose and for good purpose. And that it's not the end of the road, that yes, they're entangled in this, but they have to find a way out of it in order for them to see a different light. And there is a way out of it, but they have to seek the help sometimes. They have to move away from the environment sometimes, right? In a nutshell, what I heard you say from our discussion, you offered the importance of investment in young people, not merely just words, but importantly, financial investment into the lives and upkeep of the young people. You offer the suggestion, the importance of not neglecting our young people by parents and society, not neglecting them, but by showing them appreciation and love, giving them a sense of belonging in a safe space. You've highlighted the value rather of even creating things that would help a young person who is struggling with their academics so that they don't feel lost, because that too can create a sense of frustration, which might not want them to go to school, and then of course which might prevent them from, which might allow them to become truant, stay away from school and get themselves in environments where they will not thrive in a positive way. And you've also highlighted mentorship, the value of having positive role models in the lives of our young men, or young women, or young people, in order for them to see that there is a difference in life, and with some hand holding, with some guidance, they can make it. We've also encouraged them to be obedient to their parents and to respect their parents and to show love to their parents by, first of all, obedience, not when somebody say, oh, your mother this or that, and try to criticize your mother, so you try to react to defend her, but importantly, to show her that you love her by doing the things that will not let her go to bed worried. Boy, I wonder if he will make it home. I wonder if she will make it home. But that you give them a good night's sleep by staying away from the environments and the things that would cause her to be worried about you. So quite a bit of practical things, and importantly, the value of coming together, stakeholders from across the board coming together to seek solutions to help these young people that we're talking about. So I heard a lot from what you said. I try to just give it in summary here, but certainly richness is what you have offered to us tonight. So I'll allow for you to have your final comments, whatever they might be. I am open to you doing that now.
No, first, let me say again, as I started, this is a tremendous honor. I'm thankful to be here. You have um, offered amazing words of encouragement for a problem that we've for too long side-eyed or paid no attention to, and we need to now get back to that place where we're attacking, we're going for it, we're showing it that hey, we aren't docile, we aren't dead. We're aware of you, and we have to get rid of you as best as possible, or at least channel you through some other direction, because our youth have purpose on them. Our youth are greater than they think. And no longer will we stand by and watch our boys and our statistics get run up by these people. So I am so happy to have been chosen. I know that you've been here. I am definitely tuning in whenever I see Authentic Exchange come up. I've
Thank you.
subscribed to your
Thank
YouTube
you.
because I'm
Appreciate it.
ready for more of this, for more of the real world, for more of the real conversations about things that affect us and our youth on a day-to-day basis. We need to engage with that. We need to fix it as best as we can and see how best we can come together and do some connective moves in fixing our communities.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I call you officer most times when you come to officer. Thank you. So I want to tell the world now what you did for me on my birthday. My birthday was just last Thursday, and this officer came to the center with a green plastic bag in his hand. I was like, hey, what's up? So I remembered like a few days before that, he said he came to the youth center and he came to look for me. It was that day when we had a lot of rain. It was the National Youth Day holiday, you remember? And he
Yes.
came to the youth center. Yeah, so you came to the center and you said, "Hey, I came to look for you, and I brought you that stuff that you said you like." And I was like, "What is this?" And you told me you brought me Bigfoot. So those of you out there, if you know Bigfoot, you know that very funny looking chips. It's in a bag. It's like a snack in a bag, and it's really it has a funny shape like a Bigfoot. Right. So I don't know who told me to tell Officer Gail that I like Bigfoot, and he went to look for me that day at Davis Center, but nobody was there because it was a holiday and the weather was horrible as well. So I said, hey, well, I want my Bigfoot, but I never knew that he would bring that for me on my birthday. And guess what? When he brought it, he had no clue it was my birthday. He just happened to show up that day at the youth center with a bag with four big feet at that point because it's one on one. Yeah, and I really have to say thank you. I really appreciated that. And I said to him, "But you won't tell me it's my birthday." He's like, "No, I don't know." He really didn't know it was my birthday, and he just brought it on that day. So that really made me smile. So thank you so much for that. It's been good knowing you and meeting you here in this island. Honestly, on a serious note, just your passion for young people motivates me as well to want to continue to make a difference and to be positive. And of course, that's not our last interaction as far as doing stuff to help our young people. And so people like you need to be exported, I think. And when I say exported, you're such a resource. You need to be tapped into to be on the ground, not merely just talking to me like this, but actually to be on the ground. Because I know you do a lot on the ground here, but to be on the ground, in different parts and making that important impact on our society. So thank you for what you do. I pray God continues to protect your life in the nature of your work. I know your work is also very dangerous as well. And I just want to thank the Lord for you and ask him to put a covering over you, make sure he continues to keep you, protect your life, and continue to use you for his glory and for his honor. Once again, thank you so much for being here. I want to thank the fans who have joined in, all your friends. I can see some people here, I don't even know them. I believe these are your people. I think my people are just somewhere else. They're probably not watching at this point, and they will watch after, maybe, because Monday night, I don't know, people have all sorts of things doing, but maybe some folks are watching and they're just being quiet, or we're just not seeing. As a matter of fact, the comments I'm seeing here are only from YouTube. I'm not seeing the Facebook comments on this platform. So it doesn't mean that people may not be commenting on Facebook. And I'm just restarting these old dialogues. So I'm trying to test out days and times as well. So I happen to do this tonight to see how Monday night will play out, So it's a test as well. So again, thank you. I want to ask all of you who are out there, if you're seeing this, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also, thank you for following on Facebook and the other platforms so that we can all grow together and continue the authentic exchange that will make a positive impact on our society. Officer Gail, we will see. Take good care of yourself. Thank you for the time that you have made tonight. And I really appreciate everything. Just appreciate you all together. Thank you, folks. God bless you all. Come again for the next one.
All right. Hello?
Oh.
Still live?
Okay.
I'll close out with a quick poem.
Oh, yes, sure. Go ahead. Yes.
I think I wrote this a good while back, and it says, Peace Day. It says, Where I'm from, peace is a steal given to an illiterate man. Where we play pass round donkey, and they will pin the tail on a different one. We have funeral homes, sweet homes, and burial songs, and candles to light the street when the murals hang. The place blackout. Black flags, they're all about. We attend funerals more than birthdays. I lose families and friends in the worst ways. Hardly feel safe when we're there home. Life feels like a game of Free Fire or PUBG in the red zone. Even metal detectors, their school, security station. All because we rep for Data 6 West Side or First Nation. We're street smart. Streets taught us our quality education. And that scholarships aren't given to the degenerate generations. We can be thankful because we style them plenty. Tell the truth, one wouldn't like to see me past 20. Just a listen to Silk Boss, Mankind, our 450 journey. Massacre King, Alkaline, Ocean Wave, color the world like Wowski. Why nobody don't want to be like Nation Boss and Yaksta? Or try to revolutionize the culture like Ivy Baxter. With everything where I happen now, life not sweet like calves. All are we in the same boat, We are the same boat, want to be free like bird, all our way pals. So it truly doesn't matter if we're clad in a polo or khaki suits. Peace starts with the youths. Life
Mm.
is better in a world where peace exists. And just like acquiring anything, we have to persist. Thank you. Good night.
Woo! Oh my God! Thank you. You saved you saved that for the last. Peace, and it's a peace culture that we want to promote. Officer, you see that poem? Please, the lyrics, the wording. Grateful if you would please share it, and if you're comfortable, I can put it down. As a under the comments on the YouTube channel so people can literally read it. But I think you should put some sound to that, sir, and let that trend a little, because this is a message we need now more than ever. Peace, and to go to have a peace culture. All right. So please let's work on that. I'm challenging you. Get a few songs, a
Definitely.
little drum beat by there, and record it, and let's have it out there, please, because I think it's worth hearing again. And the lyrics are very deep, very strong. All right. And it is something, as you say, peace is something we have to persist towards constantly. Best thing ever. Thank you so much. God bless you. And God bless all of you guys, ladies, gentlemen who have been watching us tonight. See you around, officer.
Bye bye. Take care.
You too. Bye bye, everybody.